Hi guys, it's Una here from U.O.K.com.au, and remember to subscribe to my YouTube or website so you'll be the first one to receive the latest episode. Today with me is Hugh, and we have known each other for how long now?
6 years, I think.
Probably. And most people they don't define themselves by the job. But that's not what I'm asking. So I'm asking you, who is Hugh?
Who are Hugh?
Who is Hugh?
Who are Hugh? Who is Hugh?
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. How do you define yourself outside of your job? Because I suppose
Yes.
that's what you spend, most of your day doing.
Yes.
I think I'm a quiet and also adventurous person.
Yeah, because when I first got to meet you, I heard some weird stories of you. So I'm
Really?
wondering, do you have a secret life? Like weird something?
I don't, but it's funny because I think a lot of people have that same reaction to me, like they sort of see me at my desk and I'm sort of rather quiet
Yes.
and rather reserved.
Yes.
But then I sometimes have a busy social life, or I find myself in unique situations and things happen and then people learn about those things and they're so surprised because they seem so different to
Yes.
my work life.
Yes.
But no, I think I live a normal sort of social life, but then just sometimes funny things happen.
Yeah.
Odd things happen.
And me and my girls were just laughing at you this morning when you came because you have everything so neat and tidy around you. Your car is like in the boot even. It has a spot. Everything has a spot.
Yes, I've got 3 umbrellas in my boot. And I've got 1 in my car. And I've got a sleeping bag and a picnic rug and a spare change of clothes. And
So you're ready for any occasion?
I've got a bag of almonds just in case I'm stranded in the desert and there needs to be food.
What? It came to my mind. Are you like that guy on Sheldon?
Maybe I'm like Sheldon in Big Bang Theory. Maybe, I probably am. Yeah.
A little bit.
I think so, yes. I think I'm sort of neat and I'm prepared.
Yeah.
And I sort of do like to plan things and
Yes.
have things
Reliable.
reliable. Yes, I think
Yes.
I think I'm a reliable person.
Yes.
I think I'm reliable. I also think I'm quite loyal. I think I'm a loyal person.
Yeah.
I think.
But how is it being Hugh? Like, what do you do?
That's a really good question because everyone thinks that I'm a very calm, very stress-free, very relaxed person, which I think I am physically, and I think the way that I talk is rather calm. But quite often there's so much going on in my mind. And quite often people think I'm relaxed and people think I'm calm, but I'm actually sitting there stressing out about something. So there's always a lot going on in my mind. And sometimes I'll sort of wake up in the middle of the night and my mind is active, but there's actually nothing I'm thinking about. It's just like my mind has started moving.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to sort of turn it off. But I find I get to sleep easily. So like I'm not always thinking about lots of things.
Yeah.
But I think there is a bit of a misconception in terms of how I am perceived and how I am. So I think I'm always thinking about things. I think I'm often over-analysing things.
Yeah.
I'd like to do more things like meditation and things like that to sort of try and see what that can do
But
for
all
me.
people do different meditations. Like me, I just go for a walk. What kind of meditation would you do?
I've just read that even just sitting somewhere and not, like first thing in the morning, just sitting down and just not doing anything for 5 minutes can be a good form of
Do
meditating.
you know what Tina Turner did?
No, what did she do?
She had that sound, like she did a sound like hum constantly. So then she's just focused on the sound rather than anything else.
But I think that's the one thing for me. Like I think if I'm doing something productive,
Yeah.
I'm not over-analysing things because I'm thinking about my task. So that's what it's like being me. It's one giant. How would I describe it in a metaphor? It's like a giant kindergarten. There's all these little things running around and bumping into each other. And,
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have your art piece here. Perfect lines and all of that. And it looks pretty.
That's it.
This is your house? Your dream house?
Yeah, so I thought I'd start with the house in the middle because I feel like that's a good center point for my life. So I think as a child, I always dreamed of having. I don't know if it's something that is common with children, but from a very young age, I always dreamed of having a very big house.
Uh-huh.
And that's something that's kind of gone away a little bit over the years.
Yes.
In terms of wanting a giant. I think as you get older, you realise
Yes.
you don't want to have to clean 5 toilets.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, so that kind of goes away. And it's like it's a nice 2-story house. It's not massive. I joke that it looks a little bit like a Pizza Hut, but we'll get an architect in to spruce it up a little bit, look a bit nicer. But it's a nice house. It's like some grass. I've always liked the idea of having a nice big front yard with some grass and a driveway, and maybe not necessarily being impressive, but maybe just being just nice and just lots of greenery and clean. Mm-hmm. And there's a pool there, which is nice. Mm-hmm. And then there's a sort of bit of a hill, and then it's on the river.
Oh, okay.
So it's on the river, or near the river, on the river, and
that's
you can
city.
see the city in the distance, and that's just something that I kind of enjoy when I'm in like Applecross or South Perth, and you're sort of seeing the view at night across the river with the city lights in the distance. I just find it to be such a beautiful outlook. And my dream is to kind of be able to sit in my bed at night and kind of just look out at the river and look out at the city.
Oh, yeah, that was really
And then just
nice.
sort of go to sleep, and that being sort of the last thing you see at the end of the day.
Oh, that would be so amazing. But my dream is, though, actually I have it in my house here, but I would like a bigger house. Maybe by the beach. But
I've also got that.
I love having the sun coming in my bedroom in the morning.
Yeah.
Because then I wake up and just get out. Otherwise, but if it's dark, it's harder for me. So that's my dream.
Do you know one of the things that I had an idea. I'd love to have a bedroom that has a glass roof.
Yeah.
And then you could go to sleep looking at the stars.
Yes.
And then in the morning you'd wake up with the sunlight.
Yes.
That'd be really nice.
Yes, the sunrise in my bedroom. I love that.
Yeah.
And then you have, what's this? Or church or?
So these were kind of the feel good elements of my dream. So I've got church, I've got a medical building, and I've got another building which has got like a bed and some food on it. So my kind of thought would be I'd like to be closer to God. Mm-hmm. I used to go to church every week for a while, and I've kind of stopped going. So I'd like to do that again and reconnect with God more and have God as a bigger part of my life. So that was kind of the point of the church. Mm-hmm. But then also the charity element of that, and maybe helping out the church, maybe helping out people at church. Mm-hmm. And then that kind of flowed on to, with my ultimate goal being financial success, I'd like to be able to help out people in need. So whether that's just helping out people in need of medical assistance, or maybe if I have the money and time to start some kind of medical clinic or medical centre. Yeah. And then that kind of goes on to the next building, which might be something like a homeless shelter, and a bed and food for people in need. Mm-hmm. So I think the ultimate goal would be to be able to do something like that. That'd be really nice. Or if not, just be able to help people out or provide support to a charity that does that.
So you are a God-fearing person? I didn't know that about you until you told me that you went to a church.
Yeah, I'm not a God-fearing person. I've always been brought up with God around, but it's always been a bit in the background. Like my parents never really went to church other than sort of Christmas and maybe Easter. Yeah. But then in high school, God was sort of around, and every Thursday morning we went to chapel.
Does that make you feel good?
I think it does. And then for a couple of years ago, I was going to church every Sunday evening, and that was a Pentecostal church, which is sort of quite a gospel kind of church experience. And there'd be things like...
Was it not just there was a cute girl there that you were chasing or something?
Sure, there was, yeah. Well, they're actually a client of mine, and that's why I started going. So work. So they were a client of mine, and they said, "You should come to church." So then, pretty much for the year, and then I did meet a girl there. Yeah. And then when that ended, I suppose it made it maybe easy to stop going to church. So that was kind of an interesting year. And then at one point I was driving the church golf buggy because they needed someone. There was a giant golf buggy, and I used to drive it before church and pick people up at the car park and drive them to church.
You would have loved that.
And I did enjoy that. But the funny thing was, people often didn't want a ride. I was like, "Do you want a ride?" And the old people were like, "I don't want a ride." And then sometimes it was the young women that said yes to having a ride. And then I'd go to church after doing that. So that was interesting. So I don't think I fear God. I think I love God, and I think for the most part I'm very grateful to God because I recognise I'm sort of a big. I sort of think a lot about how lucky I am to be born. You know, in the time that I was born, in the country I was born, with the parents that I have.
Yeah.
And I feel like pretty much anything that I could ask for in life, I've already been given in a way. And sometimes I feel bad for wanting more.
Yeah.
But I think there's enough in the universe to be able to ask, able to ask God for more.
Yeah, and then you can give more.
True. Yes, I'd like to give more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
I think that
what I want to do too. Like, have success, so I'll be able to give more.
Yeah, I think so. And being able to not just give things to people, but give people my time and help people out more.
Yeah.
Actually, one thing I didn't draw on here was I do love animals, and being able to help animals in some way would be something nice. Whether it's actually, a friend of mine was telling me there was a job at the RSPCA where you literally just spent time with puppies, and it was a job that didn't pay, but like it's like if you had enough time and resources, you could go to the RSPCA once a week and just walk the puppies around or something like that. That'd be so fun.
Probably people are wondering, or like, because okay, we've known each other for 6 years, but when we met first, how old were you?
Well, I would have been 22.
Yeah, you just came out of school.
Just pretty much a couple of years out of uni.
Yes.
Yeah. And now I just turned 29.
Yeah. So you have this whole future ahead of you.
Yeah. Almost a third of my life, or a quarter of my life has gone past since I've known you. It's funny, but it's funny how, as I said to you before, it's amazing how fast time goes and how fast life passes. And then a lot of things change, but then a lot of things don't change.
Yes. Yes.
Which is interesting.
People always stay the same except if they want to make a change themselves.
I think I've changed a lot. I think.
Well, you just grown up, you matured.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. Yeah, you definitely.
I mean, you were young and you were just when we met first.
Yeah, and I think you learn more about who you are and more about what you want.
Yes.
And your goals and dreams.
And you chase after them. That's one thing that I know about you and admire. It's like you go after your dream. So you're gonna have a house on the beach also?
Yeah, so I think that was kind of the other thing, to have sort of a house on the beach, just a little sort of cottage. I'd love the idea of being able to, go somewhere different almost every weekend, and spend it with. I put a table and chairs out there because I think it'd be nice to be able to, have dinner with your family out on the porch and look out at the ocean and that kind of thing, and also have a simple kind of luxury as well. Like, it's very nice that you're on the beach, but it's just a sort of small house that's kind of about spending time with your family.
Airplane? And I'm so curious about these buildings here.
Yes. Well,
this is like industrial something.
Well, that was kind of the thing. But yeah, the airplane I think was kind of, I mean, the ultimate, I put my initials on the plane. The ultimate goal would be to have your own
high
plane.
five!
Well, I kind of got that idea from you. I saw that on your thing. So I think, yes, dare to dream big. I think it's something that, when I was a kid and you sort of, and you have different, I think now I have different levels of dreams. And you've got the ultimate dream would be to have your own plane. But I think at the same instance, if that's something that I don't achieve, it's not a big deal. But I think that also signifies doing some international travel, seeing the world. Maybe even if I don't own my own plane, one day being able to afford a private flight somewhere.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to put it there.
But I think that's the thing. I think the bigger your dream,
the
more likely you are to achieve that.
Yeah.
And then if you only get halfway, you've still gotten a very long way.
Yeah.
So that was the plan. So being able to see the world, and then I've got a whole bunch of buildings, and this is probably the most important element of the dream, in that there's some houses there, so some smallish houses, sort of some investment properties. The next element is an apartment building, so I'd like to be able to probably own, some large multifamily apartment buildings that I'm renting out as investments. And then the last building sort of looks like a big glass office tower. But I do like the idea of maybe owning some different real estate assets, whether it's some industrial assets or whether it's a hotel or some office space. So kind of the goal is to, be able to develop a portfolio of real estate assets, and be able to not only live off the income, but that would essentially be a job as well, looking after them, managing them, and investing in them. And then the other thing here is the boat. And it's kind of, it doesn't have to be next to the house, it could be elsewhere, but I've been lucky enough to spend a few days on.
You don't get seasick like me.
No, thankfully not. No, but I've been lucky enough to spend a few days on a client's boat at Rottnest, and I look back on those days as just such wonderful days, being able to get on a private boat, go to Rottnest, and obviously if it was your own boat, you could sort of sleep on there. And I think there's definitely a sense of freedom with boats and being able to owning your own boat. If you sort of wake up in the morning and you think, I want to go to Rottnest today, or I just want to spend the day cruising the coastline with some friends or with some family,
and family.
And that's probably the sort of the bottom left element. I mean, definitely,
And what's this? All these people here.
Oh, I think these are people that I've helped.
Okay.
I probably should have put them under these. I've just noticed one of the people I drew doesn't have legs, so maybe that means I'm helping disabled people. But I put them under the hospital. But yeah, so I think those little group of stick figures, I think I sort of put under the church and under the medical and under the social and sort of homelessness issues, and them being people that I help. But then so the bottom left, sort of the most important thing will be a family. And I think for me,
do you have an eyesight on a girl?
No one in particular, really. No one in particular. But I think that's the ultimate goal. Having a wife and having a couple of kids would be something that I do think would be the most enjoyable part of my life, I would say.
Would you want a dog or a cat?
Yes, although I didn't actually think of that at the time, so maybe that's something I don't care too much about. Maybe I'd just rather.
Yes.
Although sometimes I do think, and I didn't draw this here, but sometimes I do think, gee, it'd be nice to have like a farm and have a whole bunch of animals that no one wants, and be able to go to the farm and help the animals out and let them all live together and enjoy themselves.
My oldest daughter has that dream. Dogs.
Yeah.
Rescue dogs.
Yeah.
Have a farm with them,
That's really cool. I like that. Yeah. I'd like a couple of sports cars. But yeah, I've never really driven a fast car, and it's probably the kind of thing as a young guy that you like and you sort of aspire to. But I imagine.
Yeah, but still, you drive an Audi. That's not a sports car. It's more of family and like safe and.
Yeah. It probably sort of speaks to my personality that I aspire to something fast and dangerous, but I drive something safe and family oriented. So it's funny, you see, your brain moves one way, but then your life, you take the sensible decisions. But I think that's sort of me. I think for me, I'm very much someone that does the practical thing and does the right thing for the long term.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that I always think about with goals and dreams is obviously dedication, but also delayed gratification. And you're going to have to make sacrifices now to reach the ultimate goal, whether it's allocating time or whether it's allocating resources.
You have already started it. Like this dream of yours, you already own two houses now.
Yeah, which is great. So that's good. So I'm getting there.
Work hard to get them, and you're only at 29.
Yeah, it's good. So I'm happy with where I am, but at the same time I still feel the same way that I did when I was 22, 23, and that I'm still just starting my journey, and I've got a long way to go.
Yeah,
I've still got, so that's probably a good thing. I've still got as much hunger, and I don't feel complacent or satisfied. I still want to, keep moving forward.
And also because with you, I see it's achievable. Your dreams are achievable because I don't know how you do it, but.
Thank you. It's great. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah, I'm quite happy. My mum tells me she's proud of me, which is good.
Yeah, I would be if you were my son too.
Yeah.
My last question is, so are you on the path of making your dreams happen?
Yes.
That's we were talking about.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely am. I think there's.
How are you gonna reach this? Do you know? Do you have an idea?
I bought a ticket in the lottery for tonight. No, I think there's definitely things in motion. I think I've kind of viewed the next 10 years as working hard, saving money, investing as much as I can, and that being pretty much my core focus for the next 10 years.
Yes.
Really.
Yes.
And then I think the next 10 years will be a major decider for me on what I can achieve, because I think by the time I get to, say, 40, I think for me, I'd like to be able to perhaps spend more time with my family and sort of spend that, that time from sort of 40 to 50 focusing a bit more on myself and my family, and then and then maybe it might get to a point where you almost put some of your longer term dreams on hold whilst that's happening. And then
So you're
maybe
willing
once
to do
they're
that.
yeah, and then maybe once they're 14, 15 and they're kind of doing their own thing, and maybe even when they're in uni, you can then possibly look at what your goals are again, and
Yeah.
perhaps simplifying your life in some ways, and enhancing it in other ways. So it's interesting. So it might be, you might be able to afford the boat when you have kids, but maybe when the kids have gone to uni, maybe you've got the ability to sell the house and buy a boat and downsize and other things like that. So yeah, there's
Wow.
sacrifices.
Hugh, you amaze me because you just think so far ahead.
I know.
I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't even know what happens tomorrow with me.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you have it all planned, haven't you?
Well, my dad gave me a book in 2014 that I only read this year called Strengths Finder. And there was an online survey that you do, and it assigns you, I think they say there's 35 personality strengths that you can have, and it assigns you 5 personality strengths. One of them's competition, one of them's analytical, one of them is futuristic, and I thought that was a very interesting sort of quality for me to have and strength for me to have, because I do think about the future a lot, and I think about what I'm going to be able to achieve.
But where do you get all this drive from? Where do you get the drive from? What? Like,
I think it has come from my father. I think he's been somewhat successful, but from a very young age, I think he always encouraged me to achieve more and encouraged me to dream big, and also wasn't afraid to share where he thought he didn't achieve things in life. And I think the thing that he always stressed to me was he would have been able to achieve so much more in life if he had have maybe focused on it from a younger age. So
but
for me,
does it put a pressure on you?
it might do that.
But do you know how to?
But I think it's a, and I use this term a lot, the term positive stress. So I go to the beach most Sundays, even in winter, and I dive in the water and it's cold. But I think that's a kind of positive stress. And I think that for the most part, any restless anxiety that I have, any restless energy, I think can be a positive, and I think I can put it in the right place. And I think that it's good that I do have a sense that I should be doing more. So I don't think it's too much of a negative.
Wow. Well, I'm just enjoying the ride, watching you and see how you succeed. And yeah, good luck with everything. Well, thank you, Hugh.
Thank you.
It's impressive.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
This is Una from U.O.K.com.au. Remember, subscribe so you'll be the first one to hear the latest.